People ask me, why'd you move to Iceland, Jules? Why'd you move to Iceland? It's expensive. Yes. Short answer is yes, it's very expensive. Just to fill you in, I'm a student here in a master's program. Here's my budget. Here's what I make. Everything's plain and simple. Let's get into it. Okay, wait, just quick overview real fast. I'm a student, live in a studio apartment. I don't live in Reykjavik. I live in a rural community. Like, people don't even think people can live here. Like, that's how far we are. And I do have a partner, so it does make things easier. So just keep all that in mind. Now into the boring numbers. So Iceland, is it expensive? Short answer is yes, if you want to click off the video. But if you want to know the deets, I'm going to do everything in Icelandic kroner, okay? The rent for a studio apartment is 170,000 kroner. We do split that in half, but we also, on top of that, get some government help because I'm a student, my partner's a student, and we don't work enough to be able to quote unquote support ourselves. So we get about 40,000 from the government to help us pay for our rent. So that lowers our rent by enough to 130,000 kroner. So we end up paying actually in US dollars between $900, $950 per month, which is quite good because we were paying twice that amount on our last apartment in Colorado. So I'm pretty happy, and we were barely scraping by in that apartment. Next is groceries. As I mentioned before, groceries are hella expensive here. We spend a good 80,000, 20,000 a week. Divide that by 2, so 40,000 per person. So for myself, I pay 40,000 kroner on these groceries. I do believe in fueling our bodies. My body helps me study, helps me work. I work a physical job, skiing, so I need to have fuel. So that comes out to be about $290 each. For my phone, I do pay 4,500 kroner, which is about 30 bucks a month, 32 to be exact, and that's unlimited everything everywhere in the EU. So even if I go out of the country, I still have phone service. So me and my partner ski coached together, and we did not plan on getting a car when we moved here since we're gonna only be here for a year, but we got extremely lucky and our job provided us a vehicle actually. So for the car, we don't actually pay anything or the insurance, but we do have to fill our own vehicle up. We fill up the car about twice a month, and that's about 15,000, so 30,000 total, and that's very expensive, I will say. We're supposed to get our mileage reimbursed by our jobs, so we'll see. I'll get back to you on that. We don't know for sure because Iceland is Iceland and they say things sometimes they don't mean. But anyways, on to like the fun stuff. We do both go out for pizza night on Tuesdays because there's a special on personal pizzas for 1,300, and it's much cheaper than the regular price. So I do that regardless. My partner does that regardless because we just want a break from cooking. So that comes out to be about 5,200 a month, which is about, I don't know, like 30 bucks or so. $38 actually. And yeah, I love it because I get to talk to my friends and actually see people outside of school and work. I do budget for coffee about once a week just so I can get out of the university, out of the library. And that's about 3,000, which is, I don't know, just about $22, $23 a month. And then I have like a going out fund, which can be anything from having a beer to going out for dinner to going to trivia to buying yarn for my crochet projects. I do get student discounts, which is really nice, but I budget about 10,000 kroner a month, which I rarely go over that or even get close because we never go out because we don't have the energy or the money really. But yeah, that's about 70 bucks a month. And like I said, we just don't do it that often. Let's talk about wages. Iceland does pay well, I will say that. I have 2 jobs. I work for the ski resort and then I work as a ski coach. Those are 2 completely different entities. The ski resort is ran by the town and the coaching job is ran privately through like an athletics fund basically. And both of those jobs pay, so the resort pays me between 180 and 200, and then coaching pays me between 120 and 200 depending on like holiday pay, how much I'm working on the weekends, if there's competitions, because I get paid for a lot of mountain time if there's a competition, which is like a full 12-hour day, so it's going to be a lot more than just having practices. And we do get paid even if the mountain is closed. So inclement weather, too windy, you still get paid. Or, you know, something's broken, we can't open, you still get paid. Kids don't show up, still get paid, which is really awesome. So we don't have any missed wages. Last month, there was a lot of holidays. I had 2 competitions, so I did get paid a lot more than I usually do. So the ski resort paid me just under 200,000 after taxes. And that's after pension fund, a workers union, social security, and I think that's it. But yes, that turns out to be about 1,400 USD, and then ski coaching paid me quite a lot more because I had 2 competitions, so 224,000 after taxes, and that amounts to about 1,600, I believe. So that puts me just over $3,000 in US dollars. So let's go over everything, break it all down. You can probably just do the math in your head just about how much I made, how much I spent, but basically I made just over 420,000 in wages after taxes, and then I spent about 142,000. So that leaves me with just about 280,000 kroner, which is about $2,000 USD. But keep in mind, I work a seasonal job, so therefore there is seasonality. I won't be working in the month of May at all, so I need to plan for that. And I want to put some money away as well. I don't pay anything for health insurance. Healthcare is free here. You do pay like a little copay if you go to the doctor, but you are never going to walk away with a massive medical bill. You have to remember, we're dual income, no kids, and we don't have any major issues or spending right now. So just remember that this is not a reflection of everyone's experience in Iceland. This is just my experience as a student, dual income, no kids, in a studio apartment in rural Iceland. And although Iceland is expensive, the wages are good, even for someone in a quote-unquote entry-level position or seasonal position. But the problem is that it's very hard to go past that entry level or like past a labor job, like working in a fish factory here if you're not Icelandic. There are a lot of foreigners working here. I am a foreigner as well, of course. And my name is the furthest thing from an Icelandic name, okay? So I inherently will just have less of a chance to get a quote-unquote better job. So even though my wages are pretty good, people who are working a better job are making a lot more, which is why I get support from the government, because I don't actually make a lot of money in the eyes of Icelanders. I will have to inherently work harder, work a little more to get that better job if I want to. And I just want to remind everybody that Iceland is like posed as this like perfect Nordic country, but it's not perfect. The grass is not greener on the other side. It's only greener where you water it. It's not green right now because there's a shit ton of snow on the ground. And this is just a comparison so that I feel like people get interested in like, oh, how much does it actually cost? And like you have all these influencers be like, this is how much I spend on blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no. You're lying. And like I said before, I will not be working in the month of May, so I have to make sure that I get through that month of May, which is why I worked so much and all these competitions and stuff like this, so that I have more money to burn through when I'm sitting and not working, basically. I will be making bigger purchases like flights home, so I also have to plan for that, and that will be coming out of my Icelandic account probably. I don't want to take it out of my savings account, But yeah, hopefully this like gives you some insight on what Iceland can look like for a student living in a rural university community. And that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed.